Hello everyone, myself Sajna Janardhanan, faculty, Silver Hills Public School, Calicut. Today I am going to discuss with you the topic tissues. This is a chapter for class 9. Let us start the chapter tissues. Tissues. What are tissues? Tissues are group of cells similar in structure and origin, that is, which are similar in structure, almost a group of cells which are having the same structure and they perform the same function. So, such group of cells we call them as tissues. So, once again, what are tissues? Group of cells that are similar in structure and origin and also perform similar function. So, these group of cells will perform a single function. Such group of cells we call them as tissues. Next, the branch of science that deals with study of tissues are generally known by the term histology. Next, tissues can be classified into two types. The two types of tissues are, one is plant tissue and the other one is animal tissue. So, they are showing certain differences which you all know that there is a difference in the plant cell and animal cell. One important difference between a plant cell and animal cell is that plant cells are having a cell wall other than cell membrane, whereas animal cells are having only cell membrane, there is no cell wall. Like many differences are there between the plant cell and animal cell, the same way there are lot of differences between plant tissues and animal tissues. So, we have to divide them into two separate groups. Thus, the tissues can be divided into two types such as the plant tissues and animal tissues. Next, let us start with the plant tissues. Plant tissues, the tissues that are helping for growth in plants. So, the plant tissues are mainly helping for certain purposes in plants. One important purpose or one important function for the plant tissue is, this tissue is helping for growth in plants. Also, the tissues present in plants are providing mechanical support and strength to the plant. So, a plant, when a group of tissues are present, these tissues are providing it the strength, rigidity, etc. So, that is the mechanical support what is getting for the plant to stand erect, stand to grow. So, this way it provides mechanical support and strength to the plant. They are also helping for transport of substances. So, in plant tissues, many types of tissues are present. They play a major role in growth. Normally, the growth is taking place in plants. So, that time the tissues are helping for the growth in plants, and these tissues are providing the mechanical support for the plant while growing to stand erect and also to hold the part. So, mainly the tissues are helping for mechanical support as well as it is the strength of the plant, and it is helping for the transport of lot of substances. So, these are the important functions of the plant tissues. Once again, they are helping for the growth in plants, they provide mechanical support and strength to the plant, they help in transport of substances. Next, plant tissues. Plant tissues also can be classified into different types such as, mainly they are differentiated into two types. One is meristematic tissue, the other one is permanent tissue. So, first we classified the tissues into two. What are they? They are plant tissues and animal tissues. Now, the plant tissues we are classifying into two such as meristematic tissues and the permanent tissues. Meristematic tissue. This must be a new term for you, meristematic tissue. What is this term, meristem? Meristem is the term used for the tissues, special dividing tissues present only in certain region. So, some tissues, it is a special type of tissue present in certain regions of the plant that are helping for growth in plants. So, in plants when they are growing, the growth is supported by a special type of tissues which are able to divide. Such dividing cells, when it is dividing, new cells are formed. These new cells, when any time a new cell is forming, that means it is growing. So, we can say that these are the tissues which are able to divide, which are capable to divide. Because of that, they are helping or they are supporting the growth. So, we can say these are the tissues that are fully for growth in plants. So, meristematic tissues are the special dividing tissues present only in certain regions. These are the tissues that help for growth in plants. They are present in the growing regions. Okay. So, what are the growing regions or where are these tissues present? That is our next concern. Let us see where are these tissues present, how are they helping for the growth? Let us see. For this, let us know first, based on the region where the tissues are present, these type of tissues, that is meristematic tissues, which are helping for the growth. These tissues, based on where they are present, we can divide them into three. They are apical meristematic tissue, which is present in the apical part of the plant, intercalary meristematic tissue, which is present in the in-between regions of the plant, lateral meristematic tissues, which are present on the lateral parts of the plant. Lateral parts means sidewise branches, leaf originating positions, etc., axillary bud formations, etc. So, these positions also meristematic tissues are present. So, meristematic tissues, based on the region where they are present, we can classify them into three, such as apical meristematic tissue, intercalary meristematic tissue, and the third one is lateral meristematic tissue. Now, let us know about apical meristematic tissue. Apical, the term apical meristematic tissue means it is the tissue present at the apex part of the plant. Apex part or apical part of the plant means it is the tip portion of the stem as well as tip portion of the roots. So, present at the growing tips of stem and roots. So, apical meristematic tissue means these are the tissues which are present on the apical part or the tip part of the stem, the same way it is present in the tip portion of the roots. So, always the tip portion of the stem and root must be having certain tissues. Those tissues are capable of dividing, and because of that they are known as meristematic tissue. So, this tissue which is present in the apical region, meristematic tissue which are present in the apical part are known as apical meristematic tissue. Now, what is its function? It is helping to increase the length of the stem and root. So, when the plant is growing, the stem and the root, we know that as these tissues are dividing, what happens? It is increasing its size. So, it is helping for increasing the length for the stem as well as the down part. The roots are present and the roots are also increasing the length. So, its main function or the regions where it is present, apical part, is helping for increasing the length of the stem and the root. That is about one type, that is apical meristematic tissue. Next, intercalary meristematic tissue. Intercalary meristematic tissue means it is present at the base of the leaves or the internodes on twigs. Sugarcane or many other plants, bamboo, etc., they are having the nodal regions. So, these nodal regions, from one node to the other, the growth is happening or elongation of the cells are happening. How this elongation is happening? for that elongation is happening because there meristematic tissues are present which are capable of dividing. Such meristematic tissues which are present in the nodal region as well as on the base of the at the base of the leaves etc., we call them as intercalary meristematic tissue. Once again, what are intercalary meristematic tissue? The tissues that are capable of dividing. Which region? That is, which present at the base of the leaves or internodes on twigs. Bamboo, sugarcane etc., we have the nodal region. From the nodal region we know from one node to the other it is growing. How is this possible? There are dividing cells. These cells which are able to divide, which are special type of tissues known as meristematic tissue present in the nodal region, we call them as intercalary meristematic tissue. They help in the development of the leaves, twigs etc. Third one, lateral meristematic tissue. Same again, meristematic tissue which is helping to increase the girth, that is the width of the stem and root. When a tiny plant is growing, we know that the tiny plant, the stem is very diametrically also the stem, the girth wise it is very thin. But the same, a mango tree when it starts growing from the mango seedling, when it germinates and when the tiny plantlet when it emerges, what happens? It is a very small tiny plant. But slowly it grows. While growing its trunk is widening, it is growing wider. That is girth wise also growth is taking place. How is this possible? Lengthwise we know apical meristem is helping for them to grow. The branches also it develop by the intercalary meristem, but girth wise how it is growing? For that it is having tissues in that region which are increasing the girth of the stem and the root. So those tissues which are helping to increase the girth, that is the width of the stem and the root, are known as lateral meristems. Thus, meristematic tissue can be divided into three types. Which are they? Apical, intercalary, lateral. What is the difference between these three? Apical meristematic tissue, that is the tissue which is present at the tip of stem and root. Intercalary meristematic tissue, tissues which are present in the internodal region which are helping to increase the length only, that is from the nodal region how it is increasing, how the branches are developing. All these things are happening because of the intercalary meristematic tissues. Now, when a plant while growing, it is having a widthwise growth also. When the widthwise growth or the girthwise growth is happening, it is due to the third type of meristematic tissue which is known as lateral meristematic tissue. Thus, the first one group of tissues for the plants, meristematic tissue, have been completed. We have completed meristematic tissue. Next is other type of tissues. Not only meristematic tissue, there are many types of tissues present in plants. They all are grouped into permanent tissues. What are permanent tissues? Mainly or mostly the permanent tissues are dead cells. Actually, how are they formed or which type of tissues are known as permanent tissues? Cells, while on growth or when for a plant, when many types of cells will be present, when they group for similar function, we can call them as the tissues. So, thus a group of tissues which are made up of cells when lost the ability to divide, that is they are not able to divide. Dividing cells are meristematic tissues. So, one way we can say the meristematic tissues. When they lost the ability to divide, what they do? They take up a permanent shape, size and a function later. So, they are further not involved in much of the action. Once the cells lose the ability, that is they will lose, that is when it is getting matured, they lost the ability to divide. That time they take up a permanent shape, size and a function. Then we classify or we group those tissues into permanent tissues. So, such tissues we call them as permanent tissues. let us see or let us know more about the permanent tissues. For that, first of all, the permanent tissues are divided into two, or there are two types of permanent tissues. One is simple permanent tissue and the other one is complex permanent tissue. So, this way the permanent tissues are further divided into two types, simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. Now, let us see what are simple permanent tissues and what are complex permanent tissues, or how can we differentiate simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. One term is simple, the other term is complex. Why these terms are given for them? Let us see for that. Let us learn about simple permanent tissue. What are simple permanent tissues? Simple, very simple one, very simple tissue which are made up of only one type of cells. All cells will be similar in size, shape, etc. So, such cells made up of only the same type of cells, we call them as the simple permanent tissue. Now, these are the tissues which are forming the basic packaging tissue. So, these tissues, when it is present in plants, what is its role mainly, or where do we find these tissues? When a plant is growing its stem, it has to be filled with the tissues, isn't it? Otherwise, it will be hollow. So, this package, it is filled inside its outer structure, it is having an outer epidermal layer or cell tissues are there. But if that has to be fixed or packed, the packing is done. We do packing for many things, no? If we want to transport something, if we want to pack something, in between spaces what we do, we either fill it with paper or something to make it compact. The same way, a filling tissue or packaging tissue. Generally, the simple permanent tissues are filling or packaging tissues. Now, again, the simple permanent tissues also can be divided into three types. Lot of classifications are there. This simple permanent tissue also can be divided into three types, such as parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. We have to learn about these three tissues, what is their role in the plant. Once again, the simple permanent tissues are divided into three types, such as parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Parenchyma. Parenchyma, the cells present are loosely arranged. They are thin walled, their outer wall is very thin, not thick. And when they are present, they have intercellular spaces between the cells. When these cells are present, it is like, imagine a glass bowl when we put some pebbles. Simply we are putting some pebbles. What can we see? We can see that the pebbles are loosely arranged. So, in between the spaces we can fill it with sand or something, isn't it? So, in between spaces will be the same way. An outer boundary wall is there. In between the cells, when it is present, these cells are very loosely arranged. Because of that, in between intercellular spaces could be seen. Cell walls are very thin. These are the characteristic features of parenchyma. You have to study. This is an important question used to come for the examinations and all. The characteristic features of parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. So, what are the characteristic features? The cells which are loosely packed, cells are thin walled and they have intercellular spaces between the cells. That is all about the parenchyma type. Next, parenchyma cells. Parenchyma cells sometimes contain chloroplast in them. That is green colored pigment chlorophyll containing plastids. These are generally present inside the parenchyma cells. When the chloroplast pigment is present, or chloroplast is not a pigment, it is an organelle. So, chloroplast, when it is present in the parenchyma, such parenchyma we call them as chlorenchyma. So, it is a part of it is parenchyma only, but they contain chloroplast. What is the role of these tissues? Normally, these tissues are helping for photosynthesis. So, photosynthesis is taking place in plant leaves where green pigments are present. So, green pigments are chlorophyll pigments which are present in chloroplast. This chloroplast is present in the parenchyma. When the chloroplast is present in the parenchyma, those parenchyma we call them as chlorenchyma. So, chlorenchyma means parenchyma cells that contain chloroplast. This is normally present in the leaves which are green in color. Their main function is to help in photosynthesis. One more type of parenchyma is there, that is lotus. Have you seen the lotus leaf? Have you seen the lotus stem or water lily stem? The long brown colored long stem will be there. And what is there? If you take a cross section of that, we normally, when I was small, when I was a child, I used to play with that. This, when dipped in ink, you can make some impressions and all. That is, it is giving us a very good design. Why? You know, the stem part contains lot of air chambers inside it. If you observe a cross section of such a parenchyma tissues, or for the lotus stem, take a cross section of the lotus stem and just see. You can see inside lot of air chambers. These air chambers are parenchyma cells only which are having air sacs inside it. So, such parenchyma cells which contain air chambers inside it, we call them as aerenchyma. So, what is aerenchyma? Parenchyma cells that are having large air cavities present inside. What is the function of this? They are helping the plants to float in water. That is the main important function for the aerenchyma. These air chambered parenchyma air cavities are helping for floating in water. That is the first function. Second, they give buoyancy to the plants. That is, when you have the air cavity, a football, whatever it is, when the air bladders, when it is present, it floats on water. The same way, it is helping for the plants to float in water. So, parenchyma cells, when they are having air cavities, such parenchyma cells we call them as aerenchyma. Aerenchyma cells are generally present in aquatic plants. Why? In aquatic plants, these aerenchyma cells are helping the plants to float in water. This helps to maintain buoyancy, or this is giving buoyancy to the plants to float in water. So, the parenchyma cells, when they contain chloroplast, it is known as chlorenchyma. When they are having air chambers, it is known as aerenchyma. Now, these are some of the functions. Other than that also, parenchyma cells are having certain special functions. These are, I told in the beginning, while we discuss about the parenchyma, I told this is the package tissue. So, as this is a package, it is giving a mechanical support for the stem while on its growth. So, one important function for parenchyma is it is providing mechanical support. Another one function is this package tissues are able to store substances. So, it is acting as a storage of materials. So, these are the two important functions of parenchyma. One is it is providing mechanical support, and the other one, it is helping for the storage of materials. Then when it contains the chloroplast, it is helping for photosynthesis in the form of chlorenchyma. When it contains air chambers in aquatic plants, that is helping for the plants to float, plant parts to float. So, thus we have completed parenchyma. Next is another type of tissue which is known as collenchyma. This is almost like parenchyma, but cells are slightly elongated, whereas parenchyma were almost round in shape, whereas here they are slightly elongated cells and they are having less intercellular spaces. Parenchyma cells were loosely arranged and lot of intercellular spaces were present in between. Here intercellular spaces are less and the joining juncture, that is the corners, are very thickened. Thick corners can be seen for these type of tissues. So, these are the characteristic features of collenchyma. Collenchyma, when compared to parenchyma, they are elongated cells and they have very less intercellular space and also they are thicker at the corners. Now the functions. Its main function, it is generally seen for the creepers, climbers, etc. These tissues are helping or maintaining flexibility. It is giving flexibility to plant parts. The creepers, climbers, etc. While climbing the stem, it is making or it is allowing easy bending for parts like stem, leaves, etc. Climbers, creepers, etc. we must have seen many times, they are easy to fold. Or how this is possible? It is not brittle. You know why? Because in such plants, the stem, instead of parenchyma, the stem contains more collenchyma, which is giving flexibility to the plant parts. It is allowing easy bending for parts like stem, leaves, etc. And as like parenchyma, this is also providing mechanical support to the plant. So that is all about collenchyma. When compared to parenchyma, what is collenchyma? How can you differentiate? Compared to parenchyma, these are elongated cells, very less intercellular space and the corners are thickened. Function. This is giving flexibility to the plant parts. It is allowing easy bending for parts like stem, leaves, etc. It is providing mechanical support to the plant. One more type we have to learn, that is the third type, sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma cells are slightly different from parenchyma and collenchyma. They are long and narrow. Okay, the other two were not very long, but here this is slightly long and also very narrow ones. And mainly they are dead cells which are having thick cell walls. That is, the cell wall or outer wall is very thickened. Why is it so? Or how does it become thickened? Two cells, when they are joining, the adjacent cell or the cells in sclerenchyma contain, the cell wall is containing a substance which is known as lignin, that is a chemical substance, which normally act like a cement and hardens the cells, adjacent cells. So a group of cells, when it is present, long and narrow cells, the cell wall region, one cell to the other, the cell wall regions which are touching each other, that region contain a substance called lignin, a chemical substance that is acting like a cement which is hardening. So that is giving a hardness. So these cells are normally present in plants where hardness is required. So all hard tissue regions means it is normally of sclerenchyma. What are the functions of sclerenchyma? Sclerenchyma cells provide strength and hardness to the plant parts. So any part, when it has to be very hard, the hardness is provided by the sclerenchyma. Present normally in the hard covering of seeds and nuts. You must have seen many types of nuts, cashew, then badam, then hazelnut, pista. All these are having seed covers in even groundnut. So this seed covers are generally made up of sclerenchyma, which is giving the hardness. And also this is providing strength to the plant parts. The other two tissues, parenchyma and collenchyma, they were providing mechanical strength. The same here also, support, strength, etc. are provided by these all tissues, and very hard portions of the plant, 100% it is sure it is of sclerenchyma. So sclerenchyma functions once again, it provides strength and hardness to the plants and it is present in the hard covering of seeds and nuts. It is providing strength to the plant parts. Now a very simple or very easy understanding part for sclerenchyma I can tell you, that is, have you seen the coconut? Yes. Coconut, when you remove the outer husk, you can see lot of fibers inside it. Just pull out some fibers and try to break it. Are you able to break a single strain of fiber? No, you won't be able to. Single strand or single strain of the fiber if you take and try to break it, it is very difficult, it is very hard. The coconut husk, the fibers are made up of sclerenchyma, very hard substance. That is one good example for sclerenchyma tissues present in plants. So, seeds, normally the seed, coconut is a seed. Its outer cover is made up of sclerenchyma tissues. Thus, we have completed which one? Permanent tissues. Now, one more type of tissue which is known as complex tissue. Why the name complex tissue is given for these particular tissues? They are also permanent tissue, but it is generally known as complex tissues. Why is it so? Complex tissues are made up of more than one type of cells. Earlier, when we learn about the simple permanent tissues, they were made up of only one type of tissues, and that one type of tissues were performing one single function. Here also it is performing one single function, but not with one type of tissues. Here more than one type of cells are present. How are these modern one type of cells managing? More than one type of cells means some cells are elongated, some cells are round, some cells are wider, like different elongated one, oval shape, round shape, like more than one type of tissues or one type of cells together perform one function. Such tissues we call them as complex tissues. Complex tissues are of two types, such as xylem and phloem. Xylem and phloem are a group of tissues which are having more than one type of tissues. Let us see or let us learn that. Xylem consists of 4 types, it is more than one, it is having 4 types of cells. Tracheids, you can see elongated cells, tracheids, then xylem vessels, another shape, another type, then xylem parenchyma, you can see the xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers. It is marked in the figure, tracheids, xylem vessels, xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers. These 4 types of tissues together they form into a bundle and they perform one single function. Function wise all are coordinated each other, it is a teamwork. 4 different types of tissues together performing one function. Such 4 different types of tissues together forming into a group, we call them as complex permanent tissues. Examples are xylem and phloem. Xylem consists of 4 types of tissues such as tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers. What is the function of xylem? It is present in plants, so it must be having certain function. What is its function? All the 4 types of this. Tracheids and vessels are helping to transport water and minerals from roots to all parts of the plant. When the plant root is able to absorb the water and minerals, this has to reach to the leaves for photosynthesis purpose. It has to be transported. So, the transportation of water and minerals from the soil, that is the roots are able to absorb it. So, from roots to the leaves, to all parts of the plant, that is mainly to the leaf, it is taken out, it is helped out by tracheids and vessels. So, tracheids and vessels are helping to transport water and minerals from roots to all parts of the plant. Then what is the role of parenchyma, xylem parenchyma and xylem fiber? There are 4 types. Xylem parenchyma is helping for the storage of the food. When these tracheids, vessels, etc. are working, they need the storage of the food. So, the storage of the food is helped by xylem parenchyma, and xylem fibers are the protective one which are supporting these 3 tissues. They are a compactly cover present around the tracheids, vessels and parenchyma. So, thus 4 types of tissues together perform the function transport water and minerals. So, transportation is helped out by xylem and these 4 are playing different role while transportation. Direct involvement is only for 2 tissues such as tracheids and vessels. Xylem, 2 types of cells are involved in the transportation. The other 2 are acting as a supporting cells, parenchyma and fibers. Thus, all the 4 together performing one single function, we call them as complex permanent tissue. That xylem we have seen. One more type is a phloem. Phloem is also consisting 4 types of tissues. It consists of sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, phloem fiber. There are 4 types of tissues such as sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, phloem fiber. Now, what is the function or what is the role of these 4 types of tissues? Like in xylem, we know that tracheids and vessels were able to transport or they are helping for the transport of the water and minerals. Here, sieve tubes and companion cells are the 2 types of phloem cells, helps to transport food from leaves to all parts of the plant. So, once the xylem is able to transport water, the plant leaves are able to prepare the food by getting the minerals, water, etc. The prepared food is transported to different parts of the plant, by which part? Sieve tubes and the companion cells. So, 2 types are involved for the transport of food from leaves to the parts of the plant. Now, other 2 types like in xylem, xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers, they were helping for the storage of the food and also support the same role here in phloem. Phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers are doing, they are supporting for the storage of the food and support. So, these are the functions of phloem. So, what are the functions of the phloem? Sieve tubes and companion cells are transporting food from leaves to all parts of the plant and phloem parenchyma is helping for storage of the food and phloem fibers are helping in support. So, thus we have completed complex tissues. Now, a small portion is remaining, that is for a plant. When we see it is having different types of tissues, the packaging tissues, permanent tissues. Then we have learned about the complex tissues which are helping for the transport of the substances, the prepared food to different parts, all these internal structures with the tissues we have learned. Outer cover of the plant is again made up of a type of tissue which is known as epidermis. Epidermis is the outermost layer of the plant. So, it is the outermost layer of cells that these cells are, or this epidermal layer is made up of single layer of flat cells. So, epidermis is the outermost layer of cell which is present in plants which are made up of single layer of flat cells. Aerial parts, that is when it is present outer, the outermost aerial parts have a waxy coating which are acting as water resistant. Can you see the picture of a leaf? There you can see water droplets which are not absorbed by the leaf, that will be moved off. This shiny waxy coating is helping or it is acting as a water resistant layer on the leaf. This is mainly present in the epidermal layer. This layer forms a continuous layer. There is no intercellular spaces throughout the outermost part of the plant leaf. Plant parts must be having a single layer of flat cells. In certain parts it must be having a waxy coating. This outermost layer we call them as epidermis. So, epidermis is the outermost layer which are made up of single layer and these cells are generally flat in nature and the aerial parts normally have or which are facing, these parts normally have a waxy coating, act as a water resistant layer. They form a continuous layer, there is no intercellular spaces. Now, what are the functions of epidermis? Main function is protection, as it is the outermost layer, its main function is protection. Now, what type of protection for plants? Protection of the plants against loss of water. Otherwise, from the plant cells, when they stand in sunlight, what happens? All the water could be evaporated. So, this layer is protecting the plants from the loss of water. Then, mechanical injury. We all can make any injury on the plants. So, plants, they are not able to run away when any injury occurs. It has to survive, it has to sustain for that. For that, the epidermal layer is protecting the plant from mechanical injury. Next is invasion by parasitic fungi. Many fungal like organisms, microorganisms will try to invade into the tissues of the plant and it can kill the tissues. So, that is also protected by the epidermal layer. These are the functions of epidermis. What are the functions? It is protecting the plant against loss of water, from mechanical injury and invasion by parasitic fungi. Now, this epidermal layer contains certain tiny pores on the leaves or on the epidermal layer. Please see the picture. In the picture you can see on the leaves and many other parts small tiny pores which are not visible with our naked eye. There are very tiny pores present on the epidermal layer. These tiny pores are generally known as stomata, which are enclosed by, the tiny pores normally are enclosed by two kidney shaped cells which are known as guard cells. Please see the picture. Small tiny pore and aperture is present which are covered by two kidney shaped, bean shaped structures which we call them as guard cells. So, it is a special feature present on the epidermis, that is epidermis continuous layer, which in between small tiny pores are present. These tiny pores we call them as stomata, and how the stomata is present? It is an aperture, opening aperture could be seen, which are protected by two or enclosed by two kidney shaped cells which are known as guard cells. What is the function of stomata, or why is it present on the epidermal layer? This is helping for exchange of gases. Carbon dioxide has to go inside and oxygen has to come out for the photosynthesis purpose. And the same way oxygen, it has to enter inside for respiration purpose. This stomata is helping for the exchange of gases with the atmosphere. During photosynthesis, lot of oxygen is evolving. We know as a byproduct oxygen is forming. This oxygen will come out through these tiny pores. So, this way exchange of gases are possible by the stomata. And another one, loss of water, excess water if it is present on the plants, this excess water is not good for the plants. This has to move out or this has to be removed. How this excess water removal is taking place? Through the stomatal opening, the water can be moved out. This process or removal of water through the stomata is known as transpiration. Loss of water through the stomata or removal of water through the stomata is known as transpiration. So, these are the two functions of stomata. What are they? Exchange of gases, transpiration. These are the two functions of stomata. Now, the last part, cork or bark. Have you ever heard this bark? Bark, it is not dog barking, this is a different bark. Cork also, cork, you must have heard many times the cork cap. What is this? This is a part of the plant. Okay. Outer protective layer of a tree, generally we call it as bark. This layers, when it is present, we call them as cork. It is mainly made up of dead secondary meristematic cells. When the cells are dividing continuously, older cells are getting deposited. These older cells, when it get deposited, they are the dead cell deposition when it is taking place. This deposit, we call them as bark, forms into many layers. on the outermost part, we call them as the bark. As the meristem die, they form multiple layers around the previously formed bark. So, one layer it gets deposited, over that another layer, continuously the older dead cells are getting deposited. This thick deposit of cells, when it is multiple layer, when it is formed, we call them as the bark. Bark is present on the tree, which is very hard, which is protecting the plant from many injuries such as mechanical injury, extreme temperature conditions, that is when the climate is extreme, that may not affect the live cells present inside the plant tree inner part, but the temperature extreme could not be affected for the plant, or temperature extreme is not affecting the plant, as it must be having outer thick multiple layer of bark is present. So, and they are also impervious to gases, water, etc. So, heavy rain or whatever happens, the water is not able to enter inside because of this thick bark. The gaseous exchange is also not possible for them. So, this way bark, the main role of bark is, it is protecting the plant against mechanical injury, temperature extremes, etc. This is impervious to gases and water. These are the roles of the cork and bark. Thus, we have completed different types of plant tissues. Okay. So, we have started the topic with tissues, and we have learned that there are two types of tissues, plant tissues and animal tissues. Now, in this session, I have discussed only about plant tissues. I have completed the different types of plant tissues. As a recapitulation, just let us brush up plant tissues, mainly divided into two types, meristematic and the second one was permanent tissue. Meristematic tissues, based on the position, it is divided further into three types such as apical, intercalary, lateral. Based on these, they play a major role in plant growth. Then comes the permanent tissues. Permanent tissues are divided into two, simple permanent and complex. Simple permanent tissues means only one type of cells together performing one function. They are divided into three types, parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Then complex permanent tissues means more than one type of tissues performing a function. It is divided into two types, xylem and phloem. Now, other than this, there are outermost layer of the cells which are known as epidermis. On that, tiny pores are present known as stomata, and when many layers of dead cells are depositing on a plant, it forms into a bark or cork that is protecting the plant from mechanical injury, temperature extremes, and this is not allowing the gases and water to enter inside, impermeable or impervious. Thus, we have completed the first session of this chapter, tissues. The next part is with animal tissues, which I will be continuing in another session. Till the time, it is bye from me. Thank you. We can meet you again in a new session.